The next change I want to make involves the sidebar. Now right now all the pages on the site have the same sidebar displaying the few widgets that I've set up. But on the permalink page I would instead like to list this author, photograph, and biography there with a link back to the author page. I've already added the link under the blog post title, but I'd like to highlight the author even more. Here you can see on the permalink page we've got the same sidebar as we have on the rest of the site. Now to edit the sidebar, I'm going to flip back over to the text editor and look at a file called sidebar.php. This file is actually a little complicated. It's an unordered list of list items. There you can see them listed out here. There's 3 of them. The LI class of widgets. So there's the search, the recent entries, and a Flickr RSS feed. Now this actually isn't what gets displayed by default. The code up here for dynamic sidebar is the widgetized sidebar function. If you don't have any widgets, it's going to display this code right here, but if you do, it's going to instead show the widgets. Now what we want to do is we want to show that same sidebar on all the pages except the permalink page, so we're going to need to add a check here. WordPress has a nice function called isSingle that if you're on a permalink page, it's true, and if you're not, it's false. So I'm going to write this PHP function here that says if this page is a single page, do one thing, otherwise do something else. And that something else is going to be the same code that was already there. So it'll call the widgetized sidebar, and if you don't have any widgets, it'll display the default setting there. Now right now, the code there that I want to execute, if it's single, has been left blank for dramatic effect, and there, it's gone. Switch back over to another page just to show you that that sidebar is still there on all the other pages, but it has disappeared from the permalink page. So let's go ahead and fill in some of the code there. We're outside the loop, so we're going to need some custom code to set up the author information. I've gone ahead and just written it out and pasted it in here. Basically works the same way. It sets up the cur-auth variable or object again. Now for the HTML for the sidebar, I've copied the code from down below. I want it to look the same as the other sidebar items in the cutline theme. I've changed the heading to about and then display the author's first name. I got that code there from the Codex article. Then displays the user thumbnail, which I got from the user photo documentation. And then I've written out the description. I actually wrote some PHP to strip off the first 120 characters only of the description instead of displaying the full description there. Show an ellipsis then, followed by a link to the author's page with a label of Learn More. So I'll flip back over to the permalink page now with these changes. Oh, first I'm going to need to add some more style rules. Instead of styling just .photo, I'm going to style the sidebar .photo. I'm going to float this image right and add a different amount of padding and everything to it. Now I'll reload the page, and you can see there I've added this About Randy section. So from the permalink page, you can read a little bit about me and then click through to see more about me and see the full list of all my posts. Now one of my little pet peeves with WordPress is the actual URL for these author pages. If you look up in the address bar there, you can see the URL is /author/username. This makes it look like this particular page is a child page underneath another page located at /author. If a visitor came to the site, they may actually see this URL and think that if they take off the username and hit enter, they'll be able to see some page like a list of all the authors. Unfortunately, though, WordPress returns a 404 error, a page not found. Now this little pet peeve of mine is overcome quite easily, actually. If you create a page in WordPress whose URL is that /author, WordPress will go ahead and display that page. So it's easily overcome. Switch back over to WordPress. I've created a draft already of this page with a title of All Authors. So I'm going to edit this off this page, and I'm going to publish it. Now after you publish a page, the permalink field here shows up, and by default it just takes the title and makes it URL friendly. So it's all -authors. But that's not what we want. We want this to be author, so that it will display there if a visitor takes off the username. So I'm going to change it to author, hit save, and save the page. Now if I switch back over to the site where we've got the 404 at the /author page and give it a refresh, you'll see now it's added the all authors page to the nav. We're now on that page. Now this is that all authors page. Now you might expect the page actually to be called authors and not author, because it's going to list all the authors, plural. So one of the nice things about WordPress is if you change the permalink for a page at the top level and save it, if a visitor hits the old URL, it will forward the visitor to the new URL. This works for posts as long as you don't change any of the permalink settings, and it works for pages at the very top level. It doesn't work for children pages. I'm not exactly sure why, but you can use this for all kinds of things. But I like to use it here to forward a visitor from /author to /authors. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh this, and you'll notice it redirects.